The word elephant is based on the Latin elephas, genitive elephantus, elephant, which is the Latinized form of the Greek elephas, elephas, genitive elephantos, elephantos, probably from a non-Indo-European language, likely Phoenician. It is attested in Mycenaean Greek as e-re-pa, genitive e-re-pa-tu, in linear B-syllabic script. As in Mycenaean Greek, Homer used the Greek word to mean ivory, but after the time of Herodotus, it also referred to the animal. The word elephant appears in Middle English as olifant, circa 1300, and was borrowed from Old French oliphant, 12th century. Elephants are the largest existing land animals. 3 living species are currently recognized: the African bush elephant, the African forest elephant, and the Asian elephant. They are the only surviving members of the family Elephantidae and the order Proboscidea. Extinct relatives include mammoths and mastodons. Distinctive features of elephants include a long proboscis called a trunk, tusks, large ear flaps, pillar-like legs, and tough but sensitive gray skin. The trunk is prehensile, bringing food and water to the mouth, and grasping objects. Tusks, which are derived from the incisor teeth, serve both as weapons and as tools for moving objects and digging. The large ear flaps assist in maintaining a constant body temperature as well as in communication. African elephants have larger ears and concave backs, whereas Asian elephants have smaller ears, and convex or level backs. Elephants are scattered throughout sub-Saharan Africa, South Asia, and Southeast Asia and are found in different habitats, including savannas, forests, deserts, and marshes. They are herbivorous, and they stay near water when it is accessible. They are considered to be keystone species, due to their impact on their environments. Elephants have a fission fusion society, in which multiple family groups come together to socialize. Females, cows, tend to live in family groups, which can consist of one female with her calves or several related females with offspring. The leader of a female group, usually the oldest cow, is known as the matriarch. Males, bulls, leave their family groups when they reach puberty and may live alone or with other males. Adult bulls mostly interact with family groups when looking for a mate. They enter a state of increased testosterone and aggression known as musth, which helps them gain dominance over other males as well as reproductive success. Calves are the center of attention in their family groups and rely on their mothers for as long as 3 years. Elephants can live up to 70 years in the wild. They communicate by touch, sight, smell, and sound. Elephants use infrasound and seismic communication over long distances. Elephant intelligence has been compared with that of primates and cetaceans. They appear to have self-awareness, and possibly show concern for dying and dead individuals of their kind. African bush elephants and Asian elephants are listed as endangered and African forest elephants as critically endangered by the International Union for Conservation of Nature, IUCN. One of the biggest threats to elephant populations is the ivory trade, as the animals are poached for their ivory tusks. Other threats to wild elephants include habitat destruction and conflicts with local people. Elephants are used as working animals in Asia. In the past, they were used in war. Today, they are often controversially put on display in zoos, or exploited for entertainment in circuses. Elephants have an iconic status in human culture and have been featured in art, folklore, religion, literature, and popular culture. Elephants belong to the family Elephantidae, the sole remaining family within the order Proboscidea. Their closest extant relatives are the sirenians, dugongs and manatees, and the hyraxes, with which they share the clade Pinungulata within the superorder Aphrotheria. Elephants and sirenians are further grouped in the clade Tethytheria. 3 species of living elephants are recognized: the African bush elephant, Loxodonta africana, forest elephant, Loxodonta cyclotis, and Asian elephant, Elephas maximus. African elephants were traditionally considered a single species, Loxodonta africana, but molecular studies have affirmed their status as separate species. Mammoths, Mammuthus, are nested within living elephants as they are more closely related to Asian elephants than to African elephants. Another extinct genus of elephant, Paleoloxodon, is also recognized, which appears to have close affinities with and to have hybridized with African elephants. Elephants are the largest living terrestrial animals. The skeleton is made up of 326 to 351 bones. The vertebrae are connected by tight joints, which limit the backbone's flexibility. African elephants have 21 pairs of ribs, while Asian elephants have 19 or 20 pairs. The skull contains air cavities, sinuses, that reduce the weight of the skull while maintaining overall strength. These cavities give the inside of the skull a honeycomb-like appearance. By contrast, the lower jaw is dense. The cranium is particularly large and provides enough room for the attachment of muscles to support the entire head. The skull is built to withstand great stress, particularly when fighting or when using the tusks. The brain is surrounded by arches in the skull which serve as protection. Because of the size of the head, the neck is relatively short to provide better support. 30. Elephants are homeotherms and maintain their average body temperature at approximately 36 degrees Celsius, 97 degrees Fahrenheit, with minimum 35.2 degrees Celsius, 95.4 degrees Fahrenheit, during cool season, and maximum 38.0 degrees Celsius, 100.4 degrees Fahrenheit, during hot dry season. Ears and eyes. Elephant ear flaps, or pinnae, are 1 to 2 mm, 0.039 to 0.079 in, thick in the middle with a thinner tip and supported by a thicker base. They contain numerous blood vessels called capillaries. Warm blood flows into the capillaries, freeing excess heat into the environment. This effect is increased by flapping the ears back and forth. Larger ear surfaces contain more capillaries, and more heat can be released. Of all the elephants, African bush elephants live in the hottest climates and have the largest ear flaps. The ossicles are adapted for hearing low frequencies, being most sensitive at 1 kHz. Lacking a lacrimal apparatus, tear duct, the eye relies on the Hardarian gland in the orbit to keep it moist. A durable nictitating membrane shields the globe. The animal's field of vision is compromised by the location and limited mobility of the eyes. Elephants are considered to be dichromats and they can see well in dim light but not in bright light. Trunk. The elongated and prehensile trunk, or proboscis, consists of both the nose and upper lip, which fuse in early fetal development. This versatile appendage contains up to 150,000 separate muscle fascicles, with no bone and little fat. These paired muscles consist of two major types: superficial, surface, and internal. The former are divided into dorsals, ventrals, and laterals, while the latter are divided into transverse and radiating muscles. The muscles of the trunk connect to a bony opening in the skull. The nasal septum consists of small elastic muscles between the nostrils which are divided by cartilage at the base. A unique proboscis nerve, a combination of the maxillary and facial nerves, lines each side of the appendage. As a muscular hydrostat, the trunk moves by finely controlled muscle contractions, working both with and against each other. Using three basic movements: bending, twisting, and longitudinal stretching, retracting, the trunk has near unlimited flexibility. Objects grasped by the end of the trunk can be moved to the mouth by curving the appendage inwards. The trunk can also bend at different points by creating stiffened, pseudo-joints. The tip can be moved in a way similar to the human hand. The skin is more elastic on the dorsal side of the elephant trunk than underneath, allowing the animal to stretch and coil while maintaining a strong grasp. The African elephants have two finger-like extensions at the tip of the trunk that allow them to pluck small food. The Asian elephant has only one and relies more on wrapping around a food item. Asian elephant trunks have better motor coordination. The trunk's extreme flexibility allows it to forage and wrestle other elephants with it. It is powerful enough to lift up to 350 kilograms, 770 pounds, but also has the precision to crack a peanut shell without breaking the seed. With its trunk, an elephant can reach items up to 7 meters, 23 feet, high and dig for water in the mud or sand below. It also uses it to clean itself. Individuals may show lateral preference when grasping with their trunks. Some prefer to twist them to the left, others to the right. Elephant trunks are capable of powerful siphoning. They can expand their nostrils 30% around, leading to a 64% greater nasal volume, and can breathe in almost 30 times faster than a human sneeze, at over 150 meters per second, 490 foot per second. They suck up water which is squirted into the mouth or over the body. The trunk of an adult Asian elephant is capable of retaining 8.5 L, 2.2 US gal, of water. They will also sprinkle dust or grass on themselves. When underwater, the elephant uses its trunk as a snorkel. The trunk also acts as a sense organ. Its sense of smell may be 4 times greater than a bloodhound's nose. The infraorbital nerve, which makes the trunk sensitive to touch, is thicker than both the optic and auditory nerves. Whiskers grow all along the trunk, and are particularly packed at the tip, where they contribute to its tactile sensitivity. Unlike those of many mammals, such as cats and rats, elephant whiskers do not move independently, to sense the environment. The trunk itself must move to bring the whiskers into contact with nearby objects. Whiskers grow in rows along each side on ventral surface of the trunk, which is thought to be essential in helping elephants balance objects there, whereas they are more evenly arranged on the dorsal surface. Number and patterns of whiskers are distinctly different between species. Damaging the trunk would be detrimental to an elephant's survival, although in rare cases, individuals have survived with shortened ones. One trunkless elephant has been observed to graze using its lips with its hind legs in the air and balancing on its front knees. Floppy trunk syndrome is a condition of trunk paralysis recorded in African bush elephants and involves the degeneration of the peripheral nerves and muscles. The disorder has been linked to lead poisoning. An elephant's skin is generally very tough, at 2.5 centimeters, 1 in, thick on the back and parts of the head. The skin around the mouth, anus, and inside of the ear is considerably thinner. Elephants are typically gray, but African elephants look brown or reddish after rolling in colored mud. Asian elephants have some patches of depigmentation, particularly on the head. Calves have brownish or reddish hair, with the head and back being particularly hairy. As elephants mature, their hair darkens and becomes sparser, but dense concentrations of hair and bristles remain on the tip of the tail and parts of the head and genitals. Normally, the skin of an Asian elephant is covered with more hair than its African counterpart. Their hair is thought to help them lose heat in their hot environments. Although tough, an elephant's skin is very sensitive and requires mud baths to maintain moisture and protect it from burning and insect bites. After bathing, the elephant will usually use its trunk to blow dust onto its body, and this dries into a protective crust. Elephants have difficulty releasing heat through the skin because of their low surface area to volume ratio, which is many times smaller than that of a human. They have even been observed lifting up their legs to expose their soles to the air. Elephants only have sweat glands between the toes, but the skin allows water to disperse and evaporate, cooling the animal. In addition, cracks in the skin may reduce dehydration and allow for increased thermal regulation in the long term. Legs, locomotion, and posture. To support the animal's weight, an elephant's limbs are positioned more vertically under the body than in most other mammals. The long bones of the limbs have cancellous bone in place of medullary cavities. This strengthens the bones while still allowing hematopoiesis, blood cell creation. Both the front and hind limbs can support an elephant's weight, although 60% is borne by the front. The position of the limbs and leg bones allow an elephant to stand still for extended periods of time without tiring. Elephants are incapable of turning their manus, as the ulna and radius of the front legs are secured in pronation. Elephants may also lack the pronator quadratus and pronator teres muscles or have very small ones. The circular feet of an elephant have soft tissues or cushion pads beneath the manus or pes, which allow them to bear the animal's great mass. They appear to have a sesamoid, an extra toe, similar in placement to a giant panda's extra thumb, that also helps in weight distribution. As many as 5 toenails can be found on both the front and hind feet. Elephants can move both forwards and backwards, but are incapable of trotting, jumping, or galloping. They can move on land only by walking or ambling, a faster gait similar to running. In walking, the legs act as pendulums, with the hips and shoulders moving up and down while the foot is planted on the ground. The fast gait does not meet all the criteria of running, since there is no point where all the feet are off the ground, although the elephant uses its legs much like other running animals, and can move faster by quickening its stride. Fast-moving elephants appear to run with their front legs, but walk with their hind legs and can reach a top speed of 25 km per hour, 16 miles per hour. At this speed, most other quadrupeds are well into a gallop, even accounting for leg length. Spring-like kinetics could explain the difference between the motion of elephants and other animals. The cushion pads expand and contract, and reduce both the pain and noise that would come from a very heavy animal moving. Elephants are capable swimmers. They can swim for up to 6 hours while staying at the surface, moving at 2.1 km per hour, 1 mile per hour, and traversing up to 48 kilometers, 30 miles, continuously. Internal systems. The brain of an elephant weighs 4.5 to 5.5 kilograms, 10-12 pounds, compared to 1.6 kilograms, 4 lb, for a human brain. It is the largest of all terrestrial mammals, 80. While the elephant brain is larger overall, it is proportionally smaller than the human brain. At birth, an elephant's brain already weighs 30 to 40% of its adult weight. The cerebrum and cerebellum are well developed, and the temporal lobes are so large that they bulge out laterally. Their temporal lobes are proportionally larger than in other animals, including humans. The throat of an elephant appears to contain a pouch where it can store water for later use. The larynx of the elephant is the largest known among mammals. The vocal folds are anchored close to the epiglottis base. When comparing an elephant's vocal folds to those of a human, an elephant's are proportionally longer, thicker, with a greater cross-sectional area. In addition, they are located further up the vocal tract with an acute slope. The heart of an elephant weighs 12 to 21 kilograms, 26–46 pounds. Its apex has two pointed ends, an unusual trait among mammals. In addition, the ventricles of the heart split towards the top, a trait also found in sirenians. When upright, the elephant's heart beats around 28 beats per minute and actually speeds up to 35 beats when it lays down. The blood vessels are thick and wide and can hold up during blood pressures. The lungs are attached to the diaphragm, and breathing relies less on the expanding of the ribcage. Connective tissue exists in place of the pleural cavity. This may allow the animal to deal with the pressure differences when its body is underwater and its trunk is breaking the surface for air. Elephants inhale mostly with the trunk, but also with the mouth. They have a hindgut fermentation system, and their large and small intestines together reach 35 meters, 115 feet, in length. Less than half of an elephant's food intake gets digested, despite the process lasting a day. Sex organs. A male elephant's testes are located internally near the kidneys. The penis can be as long as 100 centimeters, 39 in, with a 16 centimeters, 6 in, wide base. It curves to an S when fully erect and has an orifice shaped like a Y. The female's clitoris may be 40 centimeters, 16 in. The vulva is found lower than in other herbivores, between the hind legs instead of under the tail. Determining pregnancy status can be difficult due to the animal's large belly. The female's mammary glands occupy the space between the front legs, which puts the suckling calf within reach of the female's trunk. Elephants have a unique organ, the temporal gland, located in both sides of the head. This organ is associated with sexual behavior, and males secrete a fluid from it when in musth. Females have also been observed with these secretions.